then how they've kind of evolved into where you're at now.
Okay. Well, yeah, so I moved to Nashville when I was 18, the day after graduating high school. And I thought I wanted to go to law school. And I was blessed enough to get placed with a temp agency to work at a real estate company. And they would come in on the weekends and say, "Oh my gosh, you're going to be a great realtor." And I was like, "No, no, no, you don't understand. I'm going to go to law school and make a lot of money." And lo and behold, I finally caved, and there were people that saw things in me that I didn't see in myself. And so my real estate career actually started at 18 at the front desk for a receptionist job, and went for almost 30 years, all the way to the point where I opened my own brokerage and ran it. So, was a broker, managed teams, opened my own brokerage, and then was able to sell my brokerage. And in that process of not having all the answers, I hired a coach and found out that coaches really make a difference in your life. You know that you were a basketball coach for many, many years. And so when people pour into you, you will work harder and you will get better results. And people have better ways of doing things than I did. And so through that coaching experience, for a couple of years, I was asked to come on as a coach. And I thought, wow, the people that had coached and mentored me really changed my life. And that was a way I could pay it forward. And so I had the opportunity in 2017 to leave real estate after having my biggest year ever in 2016 and going to the core training up in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I helped them build their real estate division, about double what it was when I got there, but also speaking to lenders and helping them grow their business by coaching their real estate agents. And just filled a real big passion of paying it forward. I think that it's not a hand out, it's a hand up. And once you get to a certain plateau, you have to go back and bring others with you. And so that's how my coaching career, took off after my real estate career.
Well, what I know about you when you were in real estate, just real estate, not coach, you worked relentlessly, Kendra.
I did.
Was that always the best way? What did you learn when you were being coached that changed to see your growth in your business?
Well, as I mentioned just a couple seconds ago, I didn't have all the answers. I thought I did. I thought what I was doing was what everybody told me. You got to work hard to be a salesperson, be an independent contractor, and you don't have a boss. And so truly, I became addicted to the grind, if you will, the accolades, the money, all the things that come with a successful career, but not doing it the right way. I faced burnout. I almost lost my marriage, and really didn't have a life. And so by hiring a coach, they said, "Hey, you can make a lot of money. But you have to have some systems and you have to have some structure and you have to put people in your life to help you." And I thought I had to do everything on my own. I didn't really know anybody that had a big team. And so I carried the weight of the world and the business on me, thinking that was the only way to do it. And the truth of the matter is, it's not. Just like in your business, whether it was coaching or nonprofit, you can't do it all. You have to surround yourself with people that have gifts that maybe you don't have, or that are willing to do things that you're not able to do, or maybe do them better, and delegate some of that around so you can grow and you can have the life that you want and the money that you want, but you can't go it alone.
Can you talk? Do you want to talk about Rick Ruby and how that? I mean, Kendra, I saw you go from great to even greater heights with Rick Ruby.
Absolutely. I will never, ever not be the most grateful possible person because of that experience. And it is tough. I love to watch sports with my husband, whether it's golf or football or whatever. Now, he watches it way more than I do, but I learn a lot of lessons by watching the sidelines, right? Whether it's a coach really pushing somebody or giving them grace, or, being in the trenches with them. And so that's what I would tell you about the organization that Rick built with his partners. Rita Casey is my best friend and my mentor, and I give all the credit to the core for that. But those two people, and as well as the team that they surrounded themselves with, other coaches that they brought on, literally changed my life. And a lot of that was pushing when I needed to be pushed, giving me a little grace when I needed to be, held in a different arena, if you will, or different arms. But honestly, their policies, their procedures, their structure, the systems that they created, the community that they created really, really changed my life. So I went from about a 20, $30 million producer to $100 million producer over about 10 years with a coach. And it was super painful. I know we're going to talk about, my latest journey at some point in time, but I talk about that in my book is, even when I got into coaching, I rebelled. Like, no, I can't stop the train that's moving so fast to learn a new system. So that's not going to work for me. And some point in time, you have to surrender to a bigger process and a bigger authority that has been there and done it and does it better. And so, absolutely, that whole journey through coaching, I highly recommend it, whether it's one-on-one or in a group setting. The accountability says it all.
Kendra, you talk about surrender for two control freaks like us, right? I still have a control freak side of me that's in my basketball, and I'm at an age now where I've got to start to relinquish it and give it away.
Right.
How hard was it to surrender in all of this? Talk about that journey a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It is really hard because, at the time, I go back to 2005, which is when I found the core. I was doing 20, 30 million in real estate by myself. I mean, 84 transactions by myself. And so for somebody to say, well, I can make you bigger, all I could think about in my mind was, I don't need to be bigger. I need to be like more structured so I can go home at night, because I was never home. Right. And so I wasn't thinking bigger as in money. I thought I was making all the money I would ever make. I mean, I come from a small town in, Southern Illinois. I didn't have a college education. And so I thought, wow, I'm making really good money on my own. So the word surrender to me, being a Christ follower means, you surrender to somebody fully. And so I was like, well, I'm already surrendered. I'm already, I'm married. I'm surrendered to my husband. I'm married. I'm surrendered to my Lord. But I'm a Christian, all those things. But the word surrender, when it comes to a coach or something, when I finally surrendered, I realized I would play harder for somebody else's approval than I ever would play for myself. It's painful. It's difficult. It's just what I said a few minutes ago. You have to hit pause on the way that you're currently doing things to embrace a new way of doing things for someone else, because obviously my way wasn't working, but in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm doing fine. Just tweak it here or tweak it there. And usually it's not a tweak. It's sometimes got to stop, make an adjustment and go a different direction to get the results that you want. But very difficult for control freaks because we kind of think that we have it all figured out.
Well, I don't think I have it all figured out. I'm just hard to let go of certain things, right?
That's lack of delegation, right? That's not trusting that somebody can do it. I learned all these things, right? So that's more delegation, Andy, because you just think, hey, I do it the best. I'll take care of it. I'll put that on my back. It's my name on the door. I did all that too. But what I realize is when you surround yourself with people that can do it 80% as good as you can, then you need to let it go and go do your highest and best use somewhere else.
The other thing I think that you did better than most people, there's just a handful of people like you. When you move into a community, you get involved in the community. Talk about some of the, besides First Shot, when you were here in the Rutherford County, talk about some of those passions and who you helped and why did you get involved with those organizations?
Well, I love people first and foremost. And I also have learned from a very young age that the haves have to give to the have-nots, right? And the more that I was being blessed, the more I had to pay that forward. I also wanted to set a great example for my son, of, what, you grew up pretty good, but we got to go take care of other people. So Of course, I love First Shot. I love Greenhouse Ministries, the Sharps, and what they have done in that community. I was very passionate to work with them for a very long time. Habitat for Humanity, obviously being in real estate, I love to build houses. Special Kids, I still am a huge supporter of Special Kids. They will always have a place in my heart, no matter where I live in the country. And they taught me how to run. And so when I got in Leadership Rutherford, which is another organization I give to, I found out that they had a team ask athletes for Special Kids. And I became very good friends with the Ayers family, Amy Ayer. And they were a huge resource for Amy, for their son, James, Kent and Amy, for James. And so I was like, you know what? I should run for the people who can't run. I'm healthy. I like to be fit. And so they took me from a 5K up to full marathons, and I have ran all over the country for awareness for Special Kids. And I met some of the most incredible people around the world, and got to see a lot of the world that I wouldn't see driving around in a car or in an airplane. So grateful for that. Graduate of Leadership Rutherford, love the chamber, the fact that they always brought people into that community that I could sell houses to. But those are primarily the ones that I worked with and was a part of when I was there in Rutherford County.
We're gonna talk about our favorite thing that we share together, our faith. Yep. Talk about how it has evolved for you over the years.
Well, growing up in a family that we went to church, and then we go through our straying years, as I hope some of you will relate to that. And so I got away from church. Unfortunately, I went into a bad relationship, got married young. It did not work out. And when I came out of that, I had to rely on my faith to get me through that. It was some of the darkest times of my life. And so I got back into faith and church and got through that rough patch. And then my husband, Greg, who you mentioned earlier, when I met him, he was not wildly, into faith. And so we were blessed with our son, which I had health issues, never thought I would have a baby. And so when I had our son, I was like, I'm going back to church because this did not happen by chance. And so I got very, plugged back into church, if you will. And throughout the years have just continued to stay in Bible studies and women groups, and really just poured into my faith. And I would proudly say my faith is stronger today than it's ever been. We left a business, talk about faith. We left a business that would have continued hopefully to thrive for many, many years. And we would have had an incredible life in that business. We sold it and walked away and went to the unknown, and 100% in faith. Moved to Charlotte, didn't know anyone there, and really thrived there. And then crazy me said, I'm ready to retire and let's go. So now we're in Florida. We've been here just over a year. And, you have to rely on faith. When you go into these new communities and you walk away from the known to go into the unknown, we could not do it without our faith. So.
Well, Kendra, we're going to take a break and be back, and we're going to talk about your book when we come back next on the Roundtable.
Murfreesboro is conducting a special census. Listing everyone in your household helps the city qualify for more funding to improve roads, parks, and services. Murfreesboro Mayor Shane McFarland.
All we need is your address and the first and last names of everyone living at your home. That's it. Take part in our 2025 special census.
Complete the form online at murfreesborocensus.com.
Count me in.
Hey, count me in.
And count me in too.
Let's make sure every resident counts. Visit murfreesborocensus.com.
At Middle Point, we want to be part of the solution. That's why we're making significant investments in proactively enhancing our facilities to integrate sustainable solutions.
Mike Klassen with Middle Point Landfill.
We invite you to learn more about us at middlepointlandfill.com.
Middle Point Landfill is an environmentally safe, economical, and reliable solution for solid waste for Rutherford County.
For public services, we are sustainability in action.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day.
and AmeriCare Pest Control.
I've got pests.
AmeriCare is Rutherford County's #1 choice in pest control, and it's simple to see why. After calling 893-7111, their staff came to my house 8 years ago when I had an insect problem. They looked at the situation, showed me the areas and what they'd recommend to resolve the problem. After treatment and with quarterly checks, I'm bug, critter, and creepy crawly free. Thanks, AmeriCare.
Call the best of the best to get rid of your pest.
AmeriCare, 893-7111.
WGNS encourages you to shop local. Let's patronize our local family businesses. We also remind you that the Red Cross is critically low on blood. So please give the gift of life to our local Red Cross. Right now, phone them and set up an appointment to give blood at a time that fits your schedule. Phone 800-RED-CROSS. There are some great plays to enjoy. Beautiful, the Carole King musical. That's playing at the Center for the Arts in Uptown Murfreesboro, along with the classic Guys and Dolls at the Arts Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury. And John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men is performed by Bravo Borough. That's at the Mills Pate Arts Center on the Old Nashville Highway. Attention Murfreesboro parents, you can sharpen your child's basketball skills while also encouraging positive spiritual change. Learn more about Coach Andy Herzer's First Shot. It's for ages 5 to 14. Get with Coach Herzer at First Shot Basketball. Remember the name, Coach Andy Herzer at First Shot Basketball. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Partial sunshine develops here this afternoon, a high in the upper 70s. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low near 63. By Tuesday, sunshine high around 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS. Currently, it's 68.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. As a member of MTE, you have access to educational resources to help you tailor energy use to your lifestyle. Interested in electric vehicles? MTE offers incentives to learn about EVs and connect with others who share your interest.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzer, founder and executive director of First Shot. Shameless plug. Sorry, Kendra, you'll have to wait for a minute. But we are starting our Christmas ask. We have 75 children. We're trying to help have a better Christmas. So if you'd go to firstshottn.org, you can sign on. You can make a donation in any amount. Any helps would be appreciated. Again, that's firstshottn.org. Welcome back, Miss Kendra Cooke. We're going to talk about your book, Embrace, Empower, Evolve, a practical guide to embracing change, empowering growth, and evolving into your true self. So, Kendra, there's always a journey for all of us. I think most of us as Christ followers, we have that first part of surrender. And the second part I want to get into is forgiveness. We carry a lot of baggage, even though we love Jesus and are following him. Talk about that and how you work through that process in your book.
Well, that's a tough one. I've been working on it my whole life, quite honestly, but I think that at some point in time in the journey of harboring ill will and making sure that was holding me back for whatever reason, once you forgive someone, it sets you free, right? And we all hear that, but you truly have to let people go. And a lot of times what I have found in my life, when I go to forgive someone and tell them that I have forgiven them for what they've done, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were hurting, right? And I think that was the big eye opener for me. I had a life experience during COVID and talking about going through our journey, our faith journey. I realized that I needed to forgive someone who was very, very close to me. And in my mind, or my words said I'd forgiven him, my actions and my mind told me that I hadn't. So I made a special trip to spend a lot of time with that person. And by the time I poured out my entire heart to them, they were like, we had no idea. We had no idea you felt that way. And it was one of the most freeing moments. And from that day forward, I realized, you know what? If I need to forgive somebody and they're still alive, I'm going to tell them I forgive them. Even if they don't know it, it made me feel better, and it made me feel very released from the bondage that I had carried for that person. And since that day, like, our relationship has just flourished to a whole nother level that I didn't even know was possible. Right. And so I talk about in my book, when you forgive someone, if they're not on this planet, write them a letter of forgiveness, tear it up, burn it, whatever, as if you're letting them go, releasing that bondage, releasing that hold that you have, and watch how much freer it is. I know for a lot of years, and my husband knows this, but I feel like he didn't get all of me because I was still holding on to a divorce situation. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. Right. And I know exactly where I was sitting. And I was at World Outreach Church, which is our church, which I'm very still plugged in there as much as I can be. And Corey and Greg and I were at church, and he said, Pastor Allen said, if there's somebody you need to let go, bring it down here and leave it at the foot of the stage, the foot of the cross. And I jumped up, and both of the guys were like, where is she going? What is happening? Right. And I took it down and I laid it down. And that point was when my faith really started to change, and I started to turn, because I released that situation, and then I've released this other one a few years ago. And I would just tell you that the people that we hold hostage for what they've done to us, a lot of times don't even realize that they did those things. And you got to release it so you can live your life to the fullest.
So let's dive deeper into this book a little bit. Financial literacy for children. I sit here and because of the now new age of sports, and they're getting paid in college bukus of money, most of these young men and women don't know how to handle that kind of money. So talk about how you think we should go about giving financial literacy to our children.
Oh, I have a whole soapbox about this, Andy.
I know you do.
First and foremost, I think that we do a disservice to our kids in education, because I can remember in high school, in my small high school in Southern Illinois, we got a checkbook. I had to take accounting, at least a semester of accounting, and we got a checkbook. And our assignment was, making deposits and making withdrawals and writing checks. And the end grade was, did our checkbook balance the way it was supposed to, right? And I'm still that person who balances my checkbook every single month to the penny. And I do it all in QuickBooks with my checkbook and my statement. And people are like, I always know I have money. And I'm like, listen, what you focus on expands, right? So if I'm going to pay attention to my money, then I need to teach that to my children and my child and other children. And so when I got in the Corps, the number one thing outside of my relationship with my mentor, which is Rita Casey, I got money literacy that I did not have growing up. And it taught Greg and I to do a monthly budget together, sit down and look at where's your money going, put it on a personal budget. I have every personal budget for 17 years. I can tell you how much I had the day I joined that organization and how much I have today without looking at any statement. Like, I do it every single month. It actually is what I worked on this morning. I have to have it done by the 5th. That's my commitment. And so, but how do we help our kids? We involve them early. We help them get on a budget early in life. We did that with Corey. We said, here's $100 every month on the first of the month, $101 bills. You can buy your lunch at school out of this money. And when you run out, you have to pack your lunch, or you can pack your lunch every day. We buy the groceries, and you can save this money and put it in an account and watch it grow. Right. And so we taught him how to balance a checkbook. He still does it. Put him on a budget. Listen, we all, probably most of us listening to this, can give our kids whatever they want. But that is doing a disservice to them. It's so much better to teach them about money, make them a part of the experience so they save for what they want. and watch what happens, because I didn't buy my son a car. We were the parents who said, whatever you save from the time you're 12 till you're 16, we will match it. And if you read the story, if you read my book, you'll read the story in there that he saved enough money, we matched it, and then he didn't buy a car. He left it in the bank so it would continue to grow because he was going to college, and he's like, I don't need a car at college. So
I remember he didn't even want to get his driver's license.
He did not. We forced him to get his driver's license, and he loved having a carpool that, parents that took him to school every day. But just little habits that you can teach your kids, instead of letting them ask for stuff, when they start seeing their money grow, they will start saying, hey, I don't really need any more toys. I'll just take some money and I'll put it in the bank. And when they get those statements in the mail, what kid doesn't love an envelope with their name on it, right? And they start saying, well, I only have this much. And even if it's 65 cents or $1.65, when they see their money works for them in the bank, it will absolutely change the way they live their life, period.
I think the other thing that the Corps did well was talk about how to give your money, to tithe, to save, to live on. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So again, we know the haves have to take care of the have-nots, and being a good steward of the money is part of the battle, right? When you meet people that maybe aren't in their faith as much, or they talk about people who are greedy, or they make too much money. I know.
Well, it looks like Kendra is frozen here, so you want to take our second break?
Yes, let's take a second break, and we'll be right back with Kendra Cooke.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
If fashion is your thing, eBay is it. eBay's where I find all my favorites, from handbags to iconic streetwear, all authenticated. For real. This time, a little Supreme, some Gucci. I even have that vintage Prada on my watch list. That's why eBay's my go-to for all my go-tos. Yeah, eBay, the place for new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion. eBay. Things people love.
Efficient 3-bedroom, 3-bath home located in the highly sought-after Black Fox Crossing neighborhood. Enjoy the convenience of 2 primary suites and a 2-car garage. Recent updates include new flooring in the living areas and bedrooms, as well as fresh paint throughout. This home comes fully equipped with appliances, including a washer-dryer and an extra fridge in the garage. For more information, call Chip Walters at Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, 615-542-1915.
In retirement, it's all about income. Your money, making money, and you're not spending down your principal. That's the way we do it at Retirement Income Solutions. So if you're spending down your principal, or your money's not making money, keeping you ahead of inflation, check us out today at risolutions.net. risolutions.net. And make sure to join us Saturdays at noon and Sunday afternoons at 1 for Retirement Income Solutions Radio with Nathan Cox and Lindsay Cotter.
At Bud's Tire Pros, we sell all major brands of tires, and we invite you to stop by today for that next set of tires. Or maybe you need us to check out your vehicle before you head out of town. We offer everything from brakes to batteries, alignments, and more. No appointments necessary, just stop on by.
I'm Allison Mitchell with Bud's Tire Pros. We're located on East Main Street, exactly 3 miles from the town square, 1 mile past Rutherford Boulevard. Visit us online at budstireprostn.com.
Fellas, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low testosterone. Don't wait. Get checked by the experts at Low T Center. They have over a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results with testosterone therapy, or TRT. And for established patients, they offer the convenience of physician-monitored at-home TRT with advanced personalized plans that include both lab testing and self-inject medication. Low T Center makes it easy, shipping directly to your door. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable. Kendra had a blackout in her neighborhood, so we apologize for that, but we are back on air. Kendra, welcome in.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And can I finish my story about the 80-20 rule that I was starting? We were talking about the core, the fact that they teach people to tithe and to give and to, return. And so I was in the middle of the story, so I'm going to back up just a second. I don't know what we missed. But the main thing is, when you are working with people that maybe aren't into their faith or aren't big believers of giving, a lot of times they say, you know what, greed is bad and, you make too much money and those kind of things. And what I really want people to understand is, to those of us who are given a lot, we have to pay that forward. And so the core is very adamant about you live on 80% and you give 20% away. And it's hard to get there. A lot of us start out giving 5% away or 10% away. But my ultimate goal is we try to give between 10 and 20% away every single year. We save 20%. So what happens is, in the world we're in today, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't give money because my bills are too high. Well, we've got to learn to live within our means so we can save for the rainy day and investment to retire at some point in time and to give away. So I'm honored that I'm able to give. I know that's a privilege, but we also have to have more discipline around our money so we can do that.
Well, I've always think there's lots of ways to give, and you're
absolutely,
and you do all three. You give of your time, you give of your talent, and you give of your money. And you've always been a great example in our community and to the people around you, Kendra. And one of First Shot's core values is to be a giver. And that's just what that encompasses, all three things, not just one. Right. But you again have been a great example to me and to a lot of others here in Murfreesboro. Talk about, why is it important, your name?
Oh, wow. Well, I think that, again, once you read the book, you'll understand where this chapter came from. But I always was told, my dad's a farmer, still lives on a farm in Southern Illinois, and he always told us, you came into the world with nothing and you're going out with nothing. So make your time here count, but the most important thing that you can take care of and protect is your name. And so I learned really early on that I wanted my name to stand for something. I want people to say the same thing about me when I'm not in the room that they say about me when I am in the room. So my word is my commitment. I think commitment and character and integrity, all of those things go so hand in hand. It's so funny. Greg and I were out for a walk on Saturday, and we were talking about, when somebody invites you to an event and you RSVP and then you don't show up, how it doesn't really just affect you. It affects the person who hosts the event, who spent the money for the food and all of the things that go into those events. And, if I tell you I'm coming, unless something drastic happens, I'll be there. If you need me, you can always call me. I'm a supporter. I just want my name to stand for something really good when I'm no longer here.
Well, I think one of those things that my dad said is, remember who you represent.
Right.
Right. And for me, I'm not perfect, and I want the listeners, but I represent Jesus as a Christ follower. So again, I'm not perfect in it, And when I leave this earth, that's what I want people to say. He was a Christ follower. All the other stuff doesn't matter much.
100%. 100%. But part of that being a faith-based person is to, let your actions speak louder than your words. So be someone people can count on, keep your commitments, honor Jesus with your tithes. I mean, all of those things go into that name, right?
So let's talk about it, Kendra. I think a little bit for all of us that, for me, I was born in simple means, and sometimes an inferior complex comes about to all of us.
100%.
So talk about when you are enough. What does that mean to you?
Well, I think that, especially in the world we're in today, we compare ourselves to other people maybe that make more money than us, or that look better, what we think looks better to us, or have a bigger house, or and I find myself doing that. Should I stay in real estate because I could do 120 million, but is that really making me happy? Or I could stay on as a coach and not write a book because I don't have time to do that, but does that make me happy? And I think that a lot of times we need to stop comparing ourselves. The act of comparison is a thief, right? It's the devil, quite honestly. And so when we talk about I am enough, it's being happy in your own skin, living within your means, paying it forward, being proud of who you are, but also accepting that, and stop accepting labels that we put on ourselves or that the outside world puts on us. I was a divorcee for a long time. And you know what? That's a label that I don't have to wear, right? God's forgiven me. I'm at peace with it. I got to move on, right? Maybe I'd like to weigh a little bit less in this age that I'm in, but you know what? I am exactly where God wants me to be. I work out. I'm healthy. I do my best, and I have to accept that. I'm enough. I'm exactly where I need to be. So I think when we can start embracing who we are and being comfortable in our own skin, our life gets better and more filled with joy, and the act of comparison and picking ourselves apart and wearing labels that other people put on us, they got to go.
So Kendra, you wrote this book. What are you going to do with it?
That's a great question. So my ultimate goal is for my third successful career, I would like to take this message and pay it forward. So I do 2 women's retreats a year. I have one coming up. I'm actually leaving on Wednesday to go for my fall one. But I would like to speak on the stage, open some doors, whether they're on local organizations that need keynote speakers or on big platforms, churches, wherever, just to pay the message forward. I think when I sat down to write the book, I've said this was on my bucket list for a long time. I wanted to be crystal clear on why I wanted this book to happen. What was the main reason that I would want to expose myself to a lot of things? When people read this book, they're going to be like, I had no idea about that. But what really was it? And the truth is, I just want people to know whatever I can do, you can do also. So I don't want people to sit back and say, well, I came from a broken home. Guess what? So did I. I've been through divorce. Guess what? So have I. I did a lot of crap wrong. Yeah, so did I. So whatever you want to do, just believe in you can do it and go do it. Don't allow other people to hold us back. So bet on yourself, swing open the doors, and go do what you want to do and live your life to the fullest. And that's really the season that I'm in right now. So my prayer for the book is it opens some doors for me to go tell some of my stories. And, a lot of my journeys when it was really tough, I journaled. And this is actually a reading book, but it's also a journaling book. So people can journal back to themselves about some of the conversations I have in the book to really maybe open them up to, you know what, I can do some different things as well. And I'm ready to take that leap of faith.
Talk about the importance of journaling. You've always done it, and you've done it in such a masterful way. Talk about why it's important for all of us to journal.
Yeah, I think it's maybe 2 or 3-fold. Number one, when I initially started journaling, I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who my friends were. I didn't know who I could trust. And talking to myself, I knew my secrets were safe. I know that sounds silly, but were judged. And when I first started, I was going through a divorce, and I really didn't know who to trust. And so I had feelings, and I was processing things that I had been told I was this, I was that. And so it became just a place for me to write my thoughts down, whether it was celebrating a victory that I had that day or overcoming an objection that had been thrown my way, and really figuring out, how to express myself, but not through anger or crying or fear or whatever. So that's kind of how it started. And then from there, it evolved into, it's a word dump. As we go through things in life, we're scared, we're fearful, we're happy, we're sad, and a lot of times those things get in our head, and it holds us back or it distracts us from the best we can be that day. So I write love letters to myself. I give myself forgiveness in my journal. I forgive other people in my journal. I list people I pray for in my journal. So there's not really one way. There's not a perfect way to journal. It's how will it help you? And so a lot of people say, I don't know where to start with journaling. And so that's the other piece of my book. Yes, it's my memoir, but it also gives you some journaling prompts where you can start asking yourself questions and learning the gift of doing a word dump, if you will. And what it always does for me is I sleep better if I'm not carrying something in my mind or on my heart when I go to sleep. It also helps me in the morning if something's really bothering me or I need to pray for somebody, I can dump it there, and then I'm the best I can be throughout the day without being distracted. So that's the gift of journaling. It can be whatever you want. I actually share a couple of my journal entries in the back of the book, so you can see that they're all over the board. It just depends on what works for you, but it's mostly a word dump.
Well, Kendra, #1 book on Amazon.
Yes,
you
we
have
were bestseller in 4 days.
Amazing. It's how
Thank
many
you.
people you've really affected. So when you say that, give us an example of a question we need to ask ourselves to start our journal.
I love that. So the first chapter in the book is about acceptance. And it is, we fight for other people's acceptance most of our life, whether it's a coach or a love, interest, or maybe if you had a rough childhood, fighting for someone's acceptance. And so when you read the first chapter, then there are 5 questions to ask yourself. And so one of the things that I would ask you is, in what role do you crave acceptance the most? In the journal, that is in there. So where are you craving acceptance in your life? And then why? Why is that acceptance into that circle or that arena so important to you? And when you start asking yourself the why questions, a lot of times you can diffuse that craving because it's really more of somebody else has told you want acceptance there, or you're insecure somewhere else, so you put a focus there. And so when you start asking yourself some of those questions and start answering them, you might start letting some of these things that you're carrying around go, because you'll figure out they're really not as important as you thought they once were.
So Kendra, how in the world do they get to be involved in your workshops?
You can email me, Kendra, at kendracooke.com. I have a website. You can go there and, send me a message and we can chat. You can follow me on social media. It's just my name, Kendra Cooke, on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn.
Well, the other thing, you have a book signing coming up at your sister's business, TriStar Title, on November 13th.
Yes.
From 5 to 7. So if they wanted you to sign a book, how do they go about buying that book?
Well, they can buy it on Amazon now and bring their copy with them if they're anxious to start reading it. Or you can buy a book there, Venmo, Zelle, cash, check. You can come by, spend some time with us. We're just going to be visiting, and I would love to see anybody that wants to come by and pick up a book or get one signed.
Well, Kendra, your family has been so good to Andy Herzier. And First Shot has evolved so much because of your helping and coaching. You just didn't dive in and give of your time. You really took it. So if anybody is looking for someone to help coach them, help their business, this Kendra Cooke is unbelievable at it. She is a great teacher, and she's even more of a beautiful person inside and out. And Kendra, I just, again, give us a couple other points in your book that you think we haven't touched on that we need to touch on.
Okay, well, let's talk about, let me first say thank you for your kind words. And listen, your family's very important to mine too. So, and thank you for what you do in the community. Your First Year Up program has changed a lot of lives and put kids in best foot forward and really changed their lives too. So it takes one to know one. So thank you for your friendship and what you do in that community. I know you're a blessing to many. But other things I would say is the power of your inner circle, being that we're sitting here having a conversation about friendships and the love of our families and what we do. The power of the people you surround yourself with are so very important. I talk about whether they're energy flushers or energy flourishers. So sometimes we have people in our life that we need that suck our energy, right? And so we need to either correct their behavior or move them out of our life and put flourishers around us. And that's what you do. You bring energy into the gym for those kids, and you surround yourself with people who have energy to change lives. And that's why First Shot has thrived for so many years in Murfreesboro. Letting go. There's a whole lesson in here of, when you start making money or you start having some success, you start collecting things, whether it's bigger houses, more cars, stuff. And how that happens, it's kind of just evolves. And then when you start realizing you're in the wrong place, how you get rid of it and how you let it go, it's just a powerful message, right? We all are so abundantly blessed that we could live on a lot less. We don't want to, and we don't really have to, but we do have to check ourselves once in a while to make sure that we're on the right path. So those are a couple more lessons that you'll learn in there. Resilience. There's a lot of great life lessons. And it's, people say, is it just for women? And the truth of the matter is no. There's a lot of lessons about my husband and I and our marriage, how we, take care of our kids, how faith is a big part of it, how he supports me in my business. So it's for anybody, teenage girls, guys, married couples. Hopefully it will appease to everybody.
Well, I do know this. You guys are a power family. You and Greg. You guys have been so instrumental in so many different people's lives here in Murfreesboro. I want again say thank you for coming on the show. I look forward to seeing you November 13th from 5 to 7 at TriStar Tidal off of West Northfield. It'd be a wonderful time to come catch up. One of the greatest humans I've ever met. So, Kendra, thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy, for having me today. I appreciate your time and your talent and everything you give to my family as well.
Hey folks, it's Mike Sparks, 49th District House member. Running for re-election, want to ask for your support.
The issues Mike's championed include the First and Second Amendment tax cut bills, passing legislation to improve mental health, the Safe Storage of Firearms Act, plus he sponsored affordable housing legislation that passed this year. Mike Sparks has been outspoken on Jefferson Pike for 20 years, which led to the $70 million widening project that's almost complete. We need Mike Sparks to remain in the State House.
This Mike Sparks asking for your vote.
Paid for by citizens like Mike Sparks, Alicia Sparks Treasurer.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at MurfreesboroMovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies like the good old premises.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve.
Parents, you can help your child sharpen their basketball skills while also encouraging positive spiritual change with First Shot Basketball Skills Academy and Winter League. Sign-ups are happening now. Led by Coach Andy Herzer, this teaching league is designed to build strong foundations not just for athletics, but for life. If your child is between 5 and 14 years old, they